Russia says it will strengthen its military capacity in its western and northwestern regions in response to Finland's expected accession to NATO on Tuesday. Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister Alexander Grushko said Russia will take additional steps to ensure its military security if the forces and resources of other NATO members are deployed in Finland. Nordic country is set to join NATO in a flag-raising ceremony on Tuesday at the military bloc's headquarters on the outskirts of Brussels. This marks a shift in Finland's security policy after the Russia-Ukraine conflict broke out. Meanwhile, Sweden, which also applied for NATO membership last year, is still awaiting approval. Alex Cartier reports from Brussels.
It's a bit of a bumpy road to get there, not a particularly long road, less than a year. That's less than you usually see for NATO accessions. The last two to join North Macedonia, being one of them in 2020, took somewhere between a year and a half, 18 months, maybe a year. So it's quite a speedy accession. That's what Jens Stoltenberg, the NATO Secretary General, wanted. He said he wanted the accession of Finland and Sweden at the time to be the fastest ever. Now, there was a lot of talk at the beginning that Finland and Sweden would join together no matter what. Now, clearly that hasn't worked out in that way, but it is still a historic day for Finland, which militarily and in Europe has been historically neutral and stayed out of military alliances. The Finnish foreign minister saying that it is a historic moment for Finland. The most important objective at the meeting, which happens tomorrow, will be to emphasize NATO support to Ukraine, where Jens Stoltenberg, the Secretary General, saying it's a good day for Finland's security, for Nordic security and for NATO as a whole. So a very significant move for Finland, which will be marked tomorrow at NATO headquarters in Brussels with a flag-raising ceremony. And the Swedes, still in discussions with Turkey, particularly over those Kurdish leaders being able to stay in Sweden, an organization that the Turks see as a terrorist organization. So discussions going back and forth. Protests in Sweden also soured relationships between Stockholm and Ankara. Hungary also blocking that accession for concerns most recently about Stockholm's criticism of Viktor Orban, the Hungarian Prime Minister. So those are the two stumbling blocks at the moment. The timeline, the hopeful timeline for NATO, is that the accession for Sweden will happen before the NATO Leaders Summit in Vilnius in July.